I spent a good part of today at home and in the car listening to and or watching the trial of Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd about a year ago. And boy, it drives home. It drives home what I've had some of my black friends tell me about the unfairness of the justice system, or the legal system, I should say, in this country where it concerns people of color. I've heard this over and over again from people I've known in the almost half century that I've been here in Atlanta. And in watching the video today, as it was played, again, only a little bit different. There was a video from across the street. There's some different videos that are coming out now in the trial. But in watching that video, it really drove home to me what my friends have been trying to tell me for the longest period of time about injustice, about how the legal system is so hideously stacked against people of color, just incredibly stacked against them. And I couldn't help but think that had Darnella Frazier, the 17-year-old at the time who took the video, had she not been there, had she not taken that video, I don't think there would be a trial of the killer, Derek Chauvin. I understand the necessity of a trial. I understand the idea that people are innocent until proven guilty, which is bullshit. You know that as well as I do. If you are black in this country and you're charged with a crime, you're guilty until you find yourself a sharp lawyer who can try to prove you innocent, and that usually doesn't work, so you plea bargain, and your black ass winds up in prison for a couple of years for something you may not have done. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. White people? Gee, give me a break. But I couldn't help but think when I listened to now 18-year-old Darnella Frazier, how critically important it was that she was there to take this 9+ minute video showing the slow execution by this filthy Derek Chauvin. You know, there he is in the video, on and on, minute after minute, with his sunglasses perched on top of his head, one hand in his pocket or on his hip, with his knee slowly driving the life out of George Floyd. Just driving the life out of him, slowly killing him, taking away his ability to breathe, depriving him of oxygen, forcing him to die in the goddamn street. And I'm watching this, and I'm listening to Miss Frazier, and I listened to her cry when she said this, quote, "When I look at George Floyd, I look at my dad. I look at my brothers. I look at my cousins, my uncles, because they're all black. I have a black father, I have a black mother, I have black friends. I look at how that could have been one of them. When I look at George Floyd, I look at my dad." But I listened to Darnella Frazier choking back those tears, and in a position that, in a position in the courtroom that puts so much pressure on this young woman. Here she is, a black 18-year-old now, confronted with the white legal system. She is testifying against a white cop. She is testifying against the symbol of black oppression in this country in the year 2021. It doesn't make any difference to me what a person's a political bullshit consists of. I don't care from the far left to the far right. Here's a fact for you. The most obvious symbol of black oppression right now is not the Klan. It's not lynching. It's not a rope. It's not these crazy son of a bitches who wander around in their camo and their long guns. It is a white police officer. So here sits 18-year-old Darnella Frazier. And after her came her cousin, who is 7. And because of their ages, well, I think I was in the car when I heard Miss Frazier's testimony. I believe she was on camera. I think. I'm not sure. But it's my understanding because of their ages, the court or the judge ruled that it couldn't show their faces on camera. But I listened to her testimony. I listened to both these girls' testimony. And just this horrendous feeling, awareness, whatever you want to call it, that I have in that moment. You know, I've been talking a lot about white people not having empathy where it concerns our black cousins. We just don't get it. I don't think it's because we're all racist punk asses. We were all brought up in a racist society, but it's because we can't reach over to our black cousins, our black brothers and sisters, and feel what they have been feeling in this country since before this country was this country. And that shit's passed down. That becomes part of your DNA after a while. That oppression, that unfair treatment, that fear of the police coming after you and you have no defense, or the police shooting you down, or the police choking you to death on a street in Minneapolis. I look at George Floyd, I look at my dad, she said. I look at my family. I look at how that could have been one of them. I mean, for real, my white cousins, for real. How do we listen to this? How do we watch this? How do we know that this is just one instance in what black folk in this country have to experience, and not just dedicate everything in us to make this stop? I mean, how do we walk away from this? How do we go about our business, so to speak, you know? I realize there are murders every day. I know some of them are heinous. I know some of them are interfamilial. Some of them are strangers. Some of them are gangs. I understand all that. But when you watch and listen to what happened to George Floyd, how can you and I, my white tribe, how can we just let this go as okay, yeah, that was sad, that was tragic, but, you know, what can I do about it? And that is the dilemma. That is the problem that we white people, it's our problem. It's our problem. This is what I think most white folk don't understand. This is our problem. We created this. I know you didn't. Neither did I. Not directly. I understand that. I get that. But we created this. White society in this country from day fucking one created this and supported it and nurtured it. And then we see the videos of a black man being executed in the goddamn street. And some of us just sit there with our eyes open and tears running down our cheeks saying, how could this happen? How did we let it get to this point? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.